All right, aloha, 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 and welcome to our first ever Seahawks live stream here at Hawai'i Sports Fans. And, we're going to talk about the 12s right now. So you can be as crazy as you want to be if you're a fan of Seattle. You can be as obnoxious as you want to be. Not that you ever are when you're a Seahawks fan, because you are the best, most, you know, NFL. You are the class of the NFL in a lot of ways when you're a Seahawks fan. And I know you feel that way, but there's something about the 12s and their passion, not only their volume, the way they fill the stadium, the way that they follow their team. But one reason I wanted to do a Seahawks live stream was because of one guy that really takes that to heart. His passion knows no bounds for the Seattle Seahawks. And he's from my hometown of Mililani, Hawaii as well. So I got to bring in Sean. What's up, Sean?
What's up, Wayne? Thanks for having me on.
Your first stream here with me. I think this could be the beginning of a cool relationship with us as Seahawks live streamers. But we go back with our football fandom and, talk about first your football and also your Seahawks fandoms and how those things kind of intersect for you, because that's kind of the stuff that you're known by. And I got your Twitter handle up there, Hawk fan. Make sure there's only one H, so Hawk fan 12. It's pretty obvious what two teams he's repping in that handle. So talk about that, Sean.
Yeah, I grew up watching football ever since I was a baby. My dad held me on his lap watching football. So, and that's how I came to love football, going to the stadium every Saturday. And then my dad's from Seattle, and my mom is from San Francisco. So,
yeah, talk about that. You said that your grandparents, right? It was they intervened because they were like, wait a minute, it's confusing. You got a 49ers guy, and then you got a Seahawks, and they made you choose. So talk about how that ended up happening.
Yeah, the Seahawks were playing the 49ers, and I was rooting for both teams. And my grandpa, who was from Seattle, he just said, "This is ridiculous. You got to pick a side." The 80s, in the middle of this 49ers dynasty title run, Joe Montana, all Jerry Rice,
yeah,
all that. So he said it was easy to root for the 49ers, but you have to be a stubborn SOB to root for the Seattle Seahawks. I like watching football with him and my dad, so the choice was easy. I've never regretted it.
Well, talk about that though. Being how does that work with your mom? You said is from 49ers, right?
Yep.
So she's still a 49er fan too to this day.
She comes to Agave and Vine, our Hawk's Nest.
Okay, really?
Stuff. And all the guys, they try to cover up and Seahawk flags, and they want to keep it.
Your poor mom. You take her there to get abused by all the get her razzed by all the Seahawks faithful there.
Told me she wants to come. So.
Well, talk about though, your speaking of Hawaii, we're gonna drop the Seahawkers name now because I know that's somebody that that's a group that you like to reference a lot in your social media posts, and just talk about what that is, how it started. If people out there even want to join, you can let you drop that off right at the top so people can hear about what you do there too, and talk about your position there.
So the Honolulu Seahawkers, we've been in existence, couple name changes since 2017. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that works with the Seattle Seahawks to host community events that promote healthy lifestyle habits and youth mindsets. So it's kind of like a social group.
Cool.
We watch games at Agave and Vine, but it's a lot more than that. We do a lot of community service. We do hikes. We clean the beach. We help assist at football camps. So just a lot of community service.
I noticed that you get a lot of celebrities that come out too, and talk about that. I see some guys. You get some pretty big names out there.
Yeah, we do. So last year we did an event with Marshawn Lynch, and then we also did one with Michael Bennett and Blitz the Seahawk. And this year we had DJ Fluker in for the Super Bowl. We did a watch party at Agave and Vine, and we did
Well, what is it like? Okay, you people want to know about Beast Mode because you got to meet him up front. I noticed he was at Milani High School as well, so you got a trip for the. I know you're a Trojan, so you got a rep for the Trojans. But talk about what kind of guy Marshawn Lynch. He seems to really fit in well in Hawaii as well.
Yeah, he's weird. He's like definitely he's his own beast. So, but that's why we love him. A lot of people, they think he's weird, but it just endears him to us.
Well, give us a story. Yeah, what is it like talking to him though? Is he only there so he won't get fined? Does he ever use that one on you?
He doesn't talk. It's like, and I don't feel like it's an act. Like that when he was passing out turkeys, I went to Walmart like 2 days before, and I saw a dude pushing the cart with his family, and I'm like, that looked like Marshawn Lynch. I was in Seahawks stuff, and I turned around and I said, I think that was Marshawn Lynch.
Wait.
So I turned back.
So where was this at? Which?
Walmart 2 days before Thanksgiving.
In Mililani.
And then I went home and I told my wife, I said, I think I saw Marshawn Lynch. And then like 2 days later, there he is, Mehiula Avenue passing out turkeys. So,
wow. What did you tell him when you were there? Did you see him at the Mehiula, or was that an event that the Seahawkers were involved with as well?
I only thought the news after. Like I would have totally gone down there and we would have helped pass out turkeys, assisted in any way we can. But it was fun. Like we did an event with him in the summertime to do a benefit for his foundation, and then we did that, and the Raiders, 808 Raider Nation.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, there seems to be a lot of cool local organizations, local fan groups that help to keep people in touch, and that's a cool thing. I mean, what kind of events you talked about? You do a lot of outreach, community outreach as well, but you're organized, right? Like you have a board, and and talk about what kind of what organizational structure is like there.
So we have a board. It's probably about 8 people on our board, like really hardcore. Will and Alika are the president and vice president, and they do a great job. They're our fearless leaders. They line everything up. So, it's like I'm the sergeant at arms. I post a lot of stuff on the Facebook. I don't know if you had a chance to check out our website or.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Facebook is, like for us, it's been a way for the two of us to get to know each other. And a lot of people don't realize that this community building that we've done online, that we've been able to cultivate, has really changed the face of how we do sports and how we, it's amazing all the people we meet when we go on the road and or see for the first time. And I'm sure it's very similar. You meet a lot of people from Seattle, or they'll come to Hawaii and they want to find out where the game is playing in the fall, and you meet a lot of people that way. So, that's amazing. But at the very base, what we're talking about is being a fan and sharing our fandom with the world. And in Hawaii in particular, we have so many football team, pro teams that people like to follow because, the fact we don't have a pro team in Hawaii. But what do you think it is about the Seahawks in general? Why is it in Hawaii that there is such a sizable following, you think?
Well, like back in the 80s, I would go to the Pro Bowl and I would see like 2 or 3 Seahawk fans. That's like early 80s. And it just, it just built very slowly until we got to the Super Bowl. And then I swear when we went to the Super Bowl, that Pro Bowl, about 20% of all the fans of the Pro Bowl were Seahawk fans. I met Seahawkers from the UK, Australia. It was crazy. Canada.
Well, what do you think it is about the fan base? We talked to Elder Sean in a Raiders live stream, and he said that what attracted the Raiders to him was that grit, was that the Raiders persona. It goes without saying that's something about that organization, right? Like their reputation precedes themselves. But what is it about the Seahawks? Do you think that attracts people? Or if you're trying to get new fans, people don't know NFL. Why should they choose the Seahawks?
I think being in the corner, isolated in the Pacific Northwest, thousands of miles away from anybody else, the nearest team, it kind of puts a chip on your shoulder. So you kind of have something to prove. And so the Seahawk fans, they bring it. And they've been bringing it since like 83.
What is it about how does it get so loud in there? Talk about that, the noise level in CenturyLink. What is it about that stadium that no one else can do, that no other stadiums can do?
Well, my uncle, he was the lead architect on the building. And he worked with Paul Allen. And what Paul Allen wanted was the noise to go straight up and then come crashing straight down on the field. Which he told me when I met him. He came over here for vacation after he finished the building, after he opened the building. And he said it was like totally illegal for like the way they designed the building for the noise to come on the field. But he said he didn't care. That's what Paul Allen wanted.
Wow.
And he said, orders from Paul Allen. So, yeah.
Well, talking about Paul Allen and one of those owners too that's really invested in that team. I think that's another thing about the Seahawks as well, is that they come from very strong organizational structure, good ownership that wants to win, ownership that will do what it takes to keep the game environment active. I mean, for me personally, and Hawaii sports fans, we did 2 trips to Seahawks NFC Championship game. So we did Seahawks-Niners was the first game. Kaepernick game, that was a crazy game. And then the following year, I mean, I got to be at some of the best Seahawks games ever, and those games were so loud. I mean, that Packers game, when that crazy comeback in the NFC Championship, that game was insane. But something that just so resonates with me is sitting on that in the bird's nest, or the hawk's nest, where I've sat a few times now there. That noise just hits you, but it's like the energy that's in there, right? It's the energy of Seattle fans, which you see through all their sports, and that's why it's a great city. Seattle's a really great sports city, so fans really get it there. But for you, what is your favorite tradition there, though, at CenturyLink when you're there on game day? What do you like to do in Seattle?
Well, it's crazy. Like, you go there and it's like, it's no joke. Other teams say we pipe in music or crowd noise. It's not true. It's all the fan, and it's like, the last time I went, like my ears rang after the game for like 3 hours, like I couldn't hear. So, and you have to bring like a notepad to talk to the person next to you because they're screaming and they can't even hear you. So I mean, it's crazy. It's no joke.
Well, and we talked about the Seahawks are one of those teams that have really made a mark for themselves. Obviously, that we said in the Pacific Northwest, there's no team in Portland, say, so you're going to get really that whole part of the United States, and always helps when you're good. It's always helping you're good, obviously. Yeah, even Alaska teams, but something about the Seahawks too, and tell us, what is it about the fact that they can attract new? Is it just the winning? Because people like to make fun of the Seahawks, like they got all these brand new fans. But what is it about what brings people to the Seahawks?
In the 80s, if I had a nickel for every time somebody told me that the Seahawks suck, I would go to school in my shirt, and everyone would tell me that they suck, and it's like, But,
well,
last was great. Like we were very consistent.
Yeah.
Lots of playoff runs, and
That's
even
true.
when we get to the playoffs, it's not. We usually win a game.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So, not
Well,
always, but it helps.
Well, that the Seahawks. I was talking to Sean earlier, and we said the Seahawks. He was saying we're even a rival of the Raiders, which they were of the Chiefs as well, because the Seahawks were in the AFC West at that time.
Right.
So there's a lot. Seattle has been able to create a lot of different rivals. The fact that it's played the NFC and AFC, and also be successful lately. But right now, let's transition to this is a weird time for all of us, the era of COVID and coronavirus. But talk about for you, personally, how it's affected your life and what your prospects are in the football season as well.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, I work at a school, and the schools are shut down, so I'm not working. So I got lots of time. And then, like, as far as my expectations, like for UH,
or no, or the expectations, for just the football season in general. Just sticking with the Seahawks and talking about like, like obviously the NFL, we might have no fans this year, and it looks like, it's becoming more of a possibility. But if they save football or at least save sports with no fans, what do you think? How do you think that'll affect the game? Do you think that'll affect the fan base? Do you think it'll affect your viewing, or what do you think?
oh, I'm still gonna watch, but I mean, the fans are the heartbeat of the game. It's like a simulation. You know, so
What?
I like if I don't know if you've tried to watch wrestling with the no fans. It's really kind of lame.
Well, talking about wrestling, at least for a little while, somehow they're able to get their essential business going, but doesn't look like it'll probably be. It might take a while for us to get back to normal in terms of football and the large arenas, but definitely CenturyLink is one of those places that knows how to fill up, knows how to get loud, and also knows how to play host to a lot of events and bring in other fans. And that's a one great thing about Seattle and that location of I don't know how many times I've walked from Pike's Place to CenturyLink, and this past year being able to go to T-Mobile Park and take our Hawaii Sports Fans group over to a Mariners game. That whole area right there is so great and just totally welcoming and embracing of a community that loves sports and loves good food, because it's right there in Chinatown too, or in the International District now called. So it's a really great spot in Seattle. But before we get ourselves any hungry and going, Uwajimaya and where else? All kinds of places. There's some wonderful places there in Seattle. And people from Hawaii, we love all of that. We eat that all up. So literally too. But this virus is scary because those things that we do, like traveling and being able to go to games, I mean, that is what's on the line for us as fans. Because hey, the games the NFL too, they got money. They can create, even if they want, a giant biodome and just have every player live in it if they wanted to. But for the fans, it's gonna be hard, right? It's hard to be in CenturyLink. It would be impossible to have one person every 6 feet, or try and keep spacing on the concourse there.
Well, the CenturyLink right now is a hospital. They the Army took it over and made it like a crisis center, and they made it into a hospital. So that's what's going on with CenturyLink right now.
Well, CenturyLink, and it's also one of those places that it's like the focal point of Seattle, right? Everybody sees you see it off the freeway coming down from the airport, and it's like the centerpiece. So, and then when you got those Blue Fridays, right? Is that what it's called? The Fridays where everybody's wearing their Seahawks gear. So yeah, right. You got something like that. It really instills a community pride, and that's what I really admire about the Seahawks and their organization and their fan bases. That instillness of pride. It also helps to have nice colors and a nice uniform, because people want to look good. So there's a lot going there, but we're hoping that we can have football as usual. We don't know yet, but at least with Seattle, we have some local interest in Hawaii, because wherever we got one of our own, right, playing, we usually find a little bit of interest. So we're going to shift over to Hawaii's own, John Ursua, and we're going to talk specifically. Oh, you got the rocking the John Ursua. That is impressive right there. So you're rocking the John Ursua jersey, but talk about first of all what it's like having him on the team, and how you felt it went for him his first year.
Well, the day he was drafted, like the Seahawks were done picking, And so I just wanted to see if someone was going to pick Ursua. And I saw that the Seahawks traded back into the 7th round, and then his name flashed up there, and like I was on the couch, and like I jumped up and I screamed, and I started punching the couch.
You
At the
started
gym,
punching the couch. You're like,
punching the couch. And I started screaming. So my wife was in the shower, and she thought I had fallen down or hurt myself or something.
oh my god, that is hilarious.
It was great. I mean, it was fantastic. So the thing with John is people are hoping with him in this year or this past year, he was able to stay on the team. You know, there was some a little rocky road in the beginning, but I mean he broke, you know, he worked really hard to get the playbook. And they cut another wide receiver that they drafted in like the 4th round. So, and they want him to work out of the slot, and Tyler Lockett's there. So it's hard. People are hoping that he's gonna be like Doug Baldwin. Doug Baldwin didn't do much his first year, but he just built and then got on the field, and we got on the field, he made plays. He got on the field a little bit at the end of the season. He made that one catch at the 1-yard line. He almost made
That's right. That was a great catch too.
Touchdown.
That was a great catch.
He was just short, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a great game to be a part of. So to be a part of that game alone made it a great season, in my opinion. I mean, to be a part of that, and pretty close run there at the end. But were you surprised that he, at his playing time, or what were your expectations going into the season for what they would do with him?
My expectations were very low. I just wanted him to be able to stick with the team. I didn't want him to get cut because I knew there was 3 or 4 other NFL teams that probably would have scooped him up and, you know, signed him. So my expectation was to just not get cut, which he did.
Well, talking about John, though, and he comes from our program, the Hawaii football program, which we're both very familiar with, and obviously our offense and the type of skill players that we develop on the offensive side have skills that translate pretty well to NFL and have developed into guys like Devon Best, people that can be contributors in the slot, particularly. But talking about Ursua, how do you see, him? How is he different from the John Ursua he was last year to where he is today?
Bigger, stronger, faster. He posts videos on his Instagram about him working out and just his speed. He's gotten so much. He's just so quick. So.
And what do you talk? When you think about his speed and his quickness, though, how does that translate specifically to the Seattle offense?
Well, it's a game of inches, right? And you need every inch. And if you can get there faster, he can contribute.
Where do you think that Coach Parcells, so specifically Seattle, do you think, because I could put him on any team, right, and he could contribute, but where do you think he fits in so well with Coach there, and a coach who speaks highly of him? Why is it? And I know he said he's the best basketball player, right, on the team too. That's another thing. John Ursua is a great athlete. Yep. So, isn't that even Russell Wilson, I think, said that John was the best basketball player, right, on the team.
Right.
So, that shows how much. But, Pete loves to put guys in all kinds of exotic play sets and do things with them, stretch them. So, knowing him and the thing about Pete, though, is his personality is a very, very specific Pete Carroll personality. And how do you think that resonates with his players, and specifically with John?
He's a player's coach. I think the players respond to that. For so long, nobody wanted to go to Seattle, and it's just totally the opposite now. So many players want to sign on as a free agent or just want to go there because of the consistency, because of the work ethic. Always compete, always just keep working, and he wants them to be themselves.
So where do you see him on the depth chart right now? John.
Well, he's behind Lockett in the slot, and
Okay.
I really wish they would move Lockett back out, so that way John could slide into the slot.
Is there any other ways you
So,
think he can see the field?
but it's also hard because we had DK Metcalf, who had just a phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
rookie season last year.
Yeah.
So, and then we signed Philip Dorsett to be the third wide receiver from out of New England.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a logjam at wide receiver for the Seahawks. So,
Well, do you think having John on the team, what has it done for the local fan base?
oh my gosh, anything that we post on Seahawkers Facebook page, 100 likes for John Ursula. Like, it's not close, you know? Anything John Ursula. Nothing moves the needle on our site like John Ursula. And he don't even play that much. So,
Well, given that John has, a huge upside and huge potential as well, other teams probably see that. I mean, it's a great position to have someone, a crafty guy who has speed. Do you think that the Seattle could potentially move him, or do you think they want to keep him there for a little bit?
oh, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I don't see them moving him. Maybe that's just me talking.
I'm not trying to start any rumors. It's just that as we know, the NFL is very, things move it's very transient.
Right.
Things can happen every day, and it seems like when you are a guy, the more noise you make sometimes is when people are starting to talk about you. So hopefully John can stay a secret for only a little bit longer, because I think once he gets his chance, once he gets to be a guy that shows up on every series, he's going to be a difference maker. And that's the part about John that a lot of people don't see, is that he aims to be the best of the 22 guys on the field at any time. I mean, he's one of the best athletes, first of all. He might not be the biggest guy, but he's definitely one of the best athletes on the field at any moment. And, pound for pound, doing what he can. He's not the biggest guy, but I think it comes to his advantage to being there as well. Yeah, very shifty. But I wanted you to give our shout, because we know that he's on island right now. So.
Oh, seriously.
He's probably in Milani too, right? Isn't that where he hangs out a lot of these days, or he's with our Furuta clan? Another shout out to the Furuta Ohana, who John, I guess, married into.
No, it's his girlfriend.
Oh, girlfriend. Okay, so, well, he has a kid, right? Does he have a? Okay, I don't. There's all the Furutas are a clan of just amazing, beautiful athletes. So not sure where, they have so many football players in that house that I'm sure whoever's the youngest one, we definitely need him already at UH, on our prospect sheet for whenever. But John is one of those guys too. We're talking about being home. He's out there and about. He's in the community. He's working hard. And have you been able to bring him into any Seahawkers events? And has anybody able to meet any of the people?
We've reached out to him a couple times, but I understand, your rookie season, you just kind of want to focus on being on the team, making the team.
Exactly.
But once you kind of get more established, you kind of have more time for your, your nonprofits and your pet projects and stuff like that. So we're hoping to do something with him soon.
Well, John Ursula last year picked in the draft, obviously, and this year we are we're just a week away now from the 2020 NFL draft, which is going to go off as scheduled. Nobody floating along the what were they going to have in the Bellagio or something in Las Vegas? People on a gondola or something, like being taken to the stage, but a little less flair. What are you looking forward to the most with the draft?
I want to know if Roger Goodell gets booed in his basement. That's what I want to know.
His wife just boos him. He's like, with the first pick, boo! They're like, what?
Him and his phone. Will his dog boo him? That's what.
Well, the as the draft comes around, as Hawaii fans as we are as well, we look forward to who on our roster we can look to as potentially having their names called. So this year, of course, we're going to start with quarterback Cole McDonald, but we also have some guys. We talked about shifty receivers, and we got some of
Right.
those as well on our team. And do you see,
Jojo.
talk about some of those guys, and do you see potentially them landing in Seattle?
We do need a backup quarterback. So, and there is talk about us possibly drafting one, maybe in the mid rounds or late. So, I mean, Cole McDonald could that's where they're talking about him going. So, I think like Sean said earlier, it would behoove him to go somewhere where he could kind of just sit and watch and just kind of learn. He's got some mechanics he's got to work on.
What specifically do you think when we talk about Cole McDonald? Because there are limitations, obviously. He threw a lot of picks last year, um, and interceptions are
It's,
really
uh,
bad. Not good.
it was
Not good
consistent.
things to do. But on the flip side, he does a lot of great things as well. So, Cole's one of those guys that has so much upside. Is such a great athlete, but specifically when you come to mechanics, what do you think it is that he needs to change?
Well, I'm a Cole guy, so uh, I want him to succeed. I want him to get drafted. I want him to get on the field. Um, he's got the NFL size. He can run.
Okay, but
You
what
know,
about it that he needs to improve, Sean? That's the question right now because we're gonna
you
make
know,
you have to answer some of
we're
the
t-
hard things because yeah, we love Cole, of course. He's our guy. Cole's our boy, but we also know that he's not gonna start on the NFL on a Super Bowl winning team. Probably not. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe I say it right now. I call it right now. Super Bowl 55. Cole McDonald comes out as and leads a team, and we know that's possible. But we also want to be realistic with where the state of quarterbacks is in the NFL right now. A guy like Russell Wilson, obviously one of the best in the
well,
NFL, and
every
that would be a
snap.
solid spot.
So like Russell Wilson, he took every snap last year. So like he's the only like non-offensive lineman to do that. So I mean, if you're going to be the backup for the Seahawks, you're probably not going to play that much, which might be good for in Cole's situation. So
No, it's a good point. I mean, he'll get a chance to develop. He'll get a chance to, you know, learn from one of the best too. It's nice to be able to sit in the same workroom, the same war room as Russell Wilson, a guy that not only is a great athlete but has built a brand. He's a global icon already, or building himself into being one. So there's a lot to learn there, and I'm sure Johnny gets that chance right now as well to be around some amazing athletes, and so it's crazy, just given how many spots there are on rosters. Not that many. There's only 53 spots. It's a battle to be able to get on any of these teams, and then it's a battle to try and get your way on the field. So
right,
understanding the challenge there, people think like, oh yeah, I can just, I mean, it's so hard to play Division One football, and this is why we go back to how privileged it is to have a Division One FBS team, because it's difficult to even be able to get on that roster, and that's still significantly less difficult than making the NFL, which is still significantly less difficult than starting. So we all know all of our athletes. There's a place for them. There's a place where, if you can make it to NFL, not all of our athletes, but those with potential, those with desire, those with a very high ceiling, which we get a bunch of those at UH because there are a lot of guys that go under the radar. Teams will take a chance on them, and teams could. But we talked about Cole a little bit. But what about the receivers? You think, and what do you see in their potential?
yeah, JoJo and Cedric, they could definitely. I mean, all it takes is one team to like you.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that with Tavai last year, Jelani. So I mean, he was supposed to go in the middle rounds, and he went in the second round. So all it takes is one team to like you, and in this NFL, there's work for those guys.
Well, in the NFL today as well, we know that not only are things competitive, but things also have to work out money wise. It's a big puzzle, and it takes a lot, right? The NFL is it's a huge beast. It could be its own country. I'm sure it has so much money, but
Right.
something we love about it as fans is a chance to be there, be at the games. We don't know if that's gonna happen this year. We don't know if we're gonna be able to do all the things that we normally get to do during the season. But I'm sure that even if there are no fans in the seats, man, the Honolulu Seahawkers probably got some big events up their sleeve coming up this season, anyways, right? Talk about some of
Yeah,
those.
so we do watch parties at Agave and Vine at the Awana Shopping Center at the Lanai. So every game, home or away, we're there. So
Talk
come on
about
down.
just talk about on the Seahawks. I want you to shut. You gotta give us your pitch for the Seahawkers. What is it about? Why should people come down there? What kind of people can they meet? And I want to give
Just
you
watch.
before we log off for today. We want to find a way. How can people become more active in the Seattle fan base here in Hawaii?
Well, yeah, like that's how you do it. You come down, you participate, you get that energy that you would feel at Century Link. You can get it in a bar. There's lots of people from Seattle. There's lots of people that just love the Seahawks, and you can feel it at the place. It's loud.
Yeah, I see
It's
some of the
loud.
photos. I love that you have having your mascot there is so crazy because
Yeah,
it
come,
really
come.
makes it feel um, like a sanctioned Seahawks event, not like just a bunch of Seahawks people there, but like this is an official this is like official legit. The
We're
Seahawks are
legit.
here, and is there any affiliation with the organization themselves or
We are,
okay, so how does
we
that work?
we're the official booster club of the Seattle Seahawks. So we
Wow.
have to pay fees
Okay.
and we report directly to them. We have to. There's expectations. There's meetings. We have to keep our numbers up.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that go into it. So
Well,
and
I've been very impressed seeing how many people show up, seeing all the numbers, seeing how diverse. I know I saw you had a Zoom meeting, I think, right? With like I don't know how many people you squeezed on a monitor, but it's really cool and pretty impressive that you're able to connect so many people from all over the country in Hawaii, but also develop some new Seahawk fans. It's like I said, it's a fun fan base to be a part of. I know it's a cool kid thing in a way because people are like, "Oh, Seahawks have been so good. Oh, you just like Seahawks because they're good." But
right,
Seahawks, even when the team dips in that stadium,
the
anywhere else you
stadium is
go, that stadium will not dip. That stadium prices will not dip, and that's one thing that very few other NFL teams can say. I don't even know if there's one more, but that's very impressive, and that says something from my end when I take people when we go to Seahawks games, when we are there in that stadium. We go to Seahawks games even in LA. We went to Rams Seahawks last year, which was a good game for the Rams, one of the few games. But it's also a tough division, and playing in the NFC West is really the best division. And the Cardinals aren't getting any worse either. So I
getting
think
better.
they're getting exactly having Kyler Murray having their coach and being able to compete. They know they have to compete with not only the Seahawks, but now the Niners are good again, and the Rams aren't going anywhere. It's like one thing for me as a Rams fan now. I guess when the Rams moved to LA, got to become a Rams NFL season ticket holder. So. I was like, well, they don't play the Chiefs, and they're in the NFC, and then they do play the Chiefs. So that's the one game I couldn't even cheer for the Rams, and they won that game. I was like, that was the best game in probably 4 years that the Rams have been in LA. Is that Chiefs game, and it was the worst
Yeah,
game for me. Like literally, I was like, this is the best. As a football fan, this game is mind blowing. But as a fan of the Chiefs and then a fan of the Rams, you're like, this is frustrating because this is so good that I can't. My favorite guy, Aaron Donald, I have his autographed picture behind me because I love Aaron Donald. But I didn't want him to hit Mahomes. I was like, don't hit Patrick Mahomes. No. It's my other fave. So, being an NFL player, being a fan is so crazy, and we're so lucky because we have teams all over the country that we can choose from, and different ways of showing our spirit. And Seattle is one of those teams that truly does it very well, and as one of the team's fan bases that knows how to keep their fans engaged, but also knows how to keep their their franchise on the rise, their franchise up there. Like even it's like what the 7 and 9 year, right, when they went to the Super Bowl
Yeah.
in 2005, right? And it's like from there it seemed like it's been up and up and up. I mean, yeah, from that mini earthquake in Seattle, it's a new Seahawks era. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. That was kind of like what catapulted us, that run, and then we got Russell Wilson a couple years later, and it's been a heck of a run.
What do you remember about that run? Where were you and at that time?
I had worked, and then I came home and I had the game on and I fell asleep, and then I woke up and it was that play.
No way! Wow.
I thought I was dreaming.
Wow.
So, wow.
That's like when I woke up I fell asleep during the Super Bowl where the Rams and the Titans, the 1 yard line one, where he got tackled on the 1 yard line. That was the only play that I woke up, I was like, oh my God, there's one last play. Oh, and then it was like, that's how it ended. So, hey, sometimes you only got to get that one play. That was the whole story. But that beast mode play, that really elevated him into a different class of athlete. He's like in the Bo Jackson, like in the I can't believe what this guy can do class. And I mean, the 9 people touched him on that play. I mean, how many opposing?
I think it was 11.
All 11 and all 11 touched him on that play. Wow.
And guys, 8.
Oh my God. Incredible. But we love seeing him. We had Mr. Bennett in Hawaii. He still lives in Hawaii. Is he I know he's not with the Seahawks, but you said he used to work with you folks a lot too, right?
Yeah, we did his camp last year, the Bennett Foundation. DeForest Buckner was there too. Mahatanu Vasa, some other NFL players, alums.
Well, we'll take some not too many questions and comments today. If anybody has questions, Blake says, let's talk Chiefs. And I mean, I can't blame him, but this is the Seahawks hour, Blake, okay? I give this to the Seahawks because we called it that. But no, I love that I can bring in teams like the Chiefs to both the Seahawks and the Raiders. I mean, just being able to reference them because, that's when you think of like Cortez Kennedy and stuff and like days like that. That's like, he's like when I think about the Raiders and Art Shell in the 90s, I think about Cortez Kennedy. I think about that Seattle team that played in the Kingdom. And, that it's just a different era. But that aesthetic is very unique as well. It's very Pacific Northwest. And that's the cool thing about the organization. It really embraces the whole area, the beauty of the Pacific Northwest and Seattle, which is one of the most beautiful, obviously, cities in America too. Even despite all the rain and despite all the grunge, I mean, that's kind of the character of Seattle. But it's a really fun place. We got to go there last year to watch Hawaii play, I think it's one of those places that Hawaiians love too. There's water everywhere.
Right, there's like 70,000 Hawaii people up in Seattle, so.
Well, hopefully we get a bunch of them on our stream. So we're gonna keep doing this. We want to make this a weekly thing. We want to continue to keep Seahawks fans engaged. Whatever happens this year with the NFL, whatever happens with TV and games and sitting in seats, and whether we return to our old lives. I don't want to jump the gun and get too optimistic, but I also want to hold out hope that at least we will create normalcy out of this. It's not like we as fans are not able to adjust. People are like, oh, what's no more sports anymore, huh? Like there's still sports. They still exist as a thing. We might not have live sports, we might not have sports today, but we'll always find a way to make ourselves open to the discourse and open to the conversation surrounding sports, because that's what crazy fans like us do. So keep doing what you're doing, Sean. Keep blogging, keep writing. We're gonna continue to grow this and continue to grow our passionate fan base in Hawaii with Hawaii football fans. And we talked about this yesterday. Sean is also one of the biggest Hawaii football fans, and we need more people to join our cause. And we talked about this, last year in person, but it seems to be something that comes up. So I think Sean needs to do a membership drive for Hawaii football at a Seahawker event. I'm just saying. Or maybe we have a Seahawker event at Aloha Stadium, a Seahawker thing. Maybe we do come support, maybe something like that.
Yeah, we've talked about that. A lot of our members go to the games.
Oh, okay.
So football's football.
Football is football, yeah. And I hope those who are really big NFL fans will continue to see the value in Hawaii football and how supporting Hawaii football particularly supports football in general, enhanced football in Hawaii. We have a very strong high school tradition when it comes to football. We need to keep that going on Saturday nights. First of all, never having Friday night football games on Saturday nights. That we can't do. That's really a annoying thing. I hate when they do that. Even at Milani High School, they
They put a lot of games on Saturday nights.
Yeah, so hopefully, that's definitely something that can take away from the fan experience and the fan support at Aloha Stadium. So I think that's something that I'd like to see for sure. Maybe we'll be able to keep that football tradition alive, because Aloha Stadium is going through its own transition, and especially in this time of the pandemic and money and finances, and people are talking out loud about things that they can see without, or see our government, our school support, and that's one of those things with our team. So we know how important it is to us, me and you and Shane and the other Sean and everybody else that loves to share their opinions on Twitter and whatever, but unfortunately, we're not enough, right? We need to keep growing a base. We need to keep growing the support, and we need to grow the passion. Because I see a lot of it online, which is great. I'm hoping that translates to in-person as well. So hopefully we can do what we can to do our part, to be the best fans, to encourage people to come out, just like how you do with the Seahawkers. I mean, it's a no-doubter. If you're a Seahawks fan, you're going to go to the Seahawkers meeting, you're going to be sold. I mean, you like football. Do you like the team? Do you like having the mascot come and chill with you? I mean, those are the kind of things that bind us together as sports fans, but also what makes us so fun. That fun part, Shane likes to say, it's so fun. Like, I was like, okay, we got to get out of the fun, but it is so fun. It is. To me, that's my first answer to anybody is, why do you do everything? Because it's fun. Why do you go to all the games? Because it's fun. Like, I don't know. They're like, does it cost money? I'm like, yeah, it costs a lot of money to do the things that I do. And I spent a lot of money to founding this company. Took a lot of my most of my wealth, all of it, every single dollar. But this is what I love to do, and this is what I've been able to find others like you and people who are similarly passionate, and let's grow this together, and let's continue to just be loud and outspoken and positive too for our team and for the Seahawks. All right. And on that, we'll see you next week. We're gonna be we're gonna do the draft as well. I'm not sure what we'll be when we'll be on in terms of where the draft what round they'll be in. I think by this time it should probably be over for the first round, so we'll be able to talk about that. So we'll get ready for that, and we'll also if you have any other news you want to share or Seahawk fans that want to be a part of us, let us know.
If you're a fan, you need to check us out, Honolulu Seahawkers. We're hoping to have a guest coming in July, an old school player. Oh, can't say anything.
Don't
right
say
now,
you gotta follow. Make sure you follow Honolulu Seahawkers. Find them. Excuse me, I have something in my throat. But make sure you find them, because Sean's got a secret player coming to visit in July. So you gotta follow though. He's not gonna just you gotta be a follower first before you get behind the door.
Put the work on it.
Put the work behind it. All right, Sean. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next week. We'll also, have our weekly lineup again next week. Like we said, we have our Wednesday Hawaii football. We do a little wrap up, and then now Thursdays we're gonna do our Raiders and then Seahawks, and maybe we'll add a few more teams. So we'll stay tuned. So we'll see. All right, Sean. But we'll see you next week. Okay. Take care, everyone. Aloha.
Hawks.
Our weekly lineup again next week. Like we said, we have our Wednesday Hawaii football. We do a little wrap up, and then now Thursdays we do our Raiders and then Seahawks. Maybe we'll add a few more teams. So we'll stay tuned. So we'll see. All right, Sean. But we'll see you next week. Okay. Take
Sean,
care,
what's up, man?
Aloha.
You still there? Okay, I'm checking to make sure my stream is still working.